what I want you to do is focus on converting your mistakes into milestones. So, starting from the last test, starting from the first test, yeah, check your errors, mistakes, etc. Right? Write short note on each, if not already written, right? And uh, go through the same types of questions once again. Of questions once again. This is what I want you to do. Like, for example, in reading, let us say in reading, you find history passages with maximum mistake, right? Passages with maximum mistake. This can be one scenario, right? Let's say you have got history passages with maximum mistakes or particular types of questions, right? Like, what kind of questions there are? There can be word-based questions or line-based questions or paragraph-based questions, right? Or questions based on reading a graph, right? Questions based on uh, evidence-based questions, right? These can be the types of questions, right? So, for example, in case of reading, you have to find out what is the type of passage where you are making a mistake, right? Is it this or a double passage or narrative or science? So, what is the type of passages where you are making maximum mistakes? Is it certain type of passage or certain types of questions we are doing mistakes? Let's say you find that you make maximum number of mistakes in double passages, and that too when they are history based. Then wherever you find a history based double passage, do those test papers itself from first 10 question for first 10 test papers, right? So first finish first 10, the ones which have got strong explanations, clear explanations, and they are given by college board itself. And so all the tests that we have done are from the college board. We have not done anything else but something which is given by college board, so that we stay very authentic. So the point is that you now have to focus on the mistakes that you are committing. So this is how you can approach reading. Okay. Today, and devote one day to one thing. Like, today you devote it to English. So you focus on reading and writing only for today. Like this, tomorrow we will focus on math. Then again reading and writing, then again math. So in next 2 3 days, we will make sure that we understand all the mistakes and we kind of work on them, and then we will do one more test, right? Similarly in writing, what I want you to do is this. In writing, you identify the types of mistakes again, okay? Let's say the mistakes are on grammar based questions or story or context based questions, okay? And that too you have to find out, like if you say grammar based questions, what is the nature of them? Is it something related to punctuations or something related to any other grammar rules, you know, subject verb agreement or discourse markers? Although I'll put discourse markers in story based. What are discourse markers? So discourse markers are words like but, nevertheless, right? The ones which are used at the beginning of a paragraph. They are discourse markers based. We can also call them as transition questions. How is the message? How are the paragraphs related to each other? but nevertheless, indeed, these types of words are there, right? Or, um, you know, I'll put this in a separate, in fact, I can put it in grammar also, which is diction questions. Diction questions are selection of words, of right word. Right. So whichever types of questions you are going wrong on, you have to identify that. That is the task for next, let's say, 2 days. We identify what types of questions we are going wrong on. And for that, let's take a few tests as our samples. I want you to start with test 9 and 10. So go in reverse order because probably when we started, we would have started with test 1. So go in reverse order, right? Start revision in this order. In reverse order, starting from test 10, then test 9, then test 8, like that, right? So let's have a target of doing these three tests today: 10, 9, and 8. Go through these tests and see what are the errors in these tests which you did, and what types of errors, what types of problems were there in this one. Okay. So this will help us to be very particular and very focused about the types of errors we commit, and we'll be able to work on them. And we'll do the same types of exercises again for these tests so that it becomes very strong, right? And along with that, of course, we'll be doing some full tests also, which I'll send to you, and we'll discuss them during our sessions in the evening. But yes, how I want you to plan your work is uh, hit the problem itself rather than doing the full test. More important is to identify the errors and work on them, right? And like similarly now, when we talk about, I'll further discuss, we can see what other types of mistakes we commit when we talk about math. Again, identify the topics and work on the topics itself. So, identify the topics and types of mistakes. So when you see that you are going wrong on certain topics, the most common topics on which people go wrong are these parabola-based questions, where they talk about minimum or maximum value, right? Then there are questions based on axis of symmetry, right? The different forms of quadratic equation, the vertex form, standard form. So, let us try to find out what are the different types of errors. When you revise it, the focus will be to see, oh, this type of question is going wrong, right? And work on that particular part. And from where will you get? So, let me come back to this portion itself. Whichever section you want to revise on, the source that I want you all to use is, which source would you use? One is this particular file which I am making. You can, because all the strategies are written here. For all the tests which we have been doing, I've been writing all the different errors and corrections here. So you can use these notes. This is one source for writing and reading. For math, so for reading and writing, this is the shared file. For math, I want you to first of all go through Khan Academy. So whenever you go wrong on something, Khan Academy is the place where you will go to and revise that section. It does not take long time, like half an hour, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and you can complete one particular section. If there's something which you find to be difficult, we can discuss it together. That's what we are going to do in any case in our class. So this is the source I want you to use for next 4 5 days before your test. Yeah, don't use many sources. This is the one. Apart from this, if there is anything else, I'll give you some content related to it from the books that we have been doing, either Kaplan book or some other sources which I'll share with you. Like I gave you that exercise for unit circle and questions related to it. So that's what I want you to focus on. Okay, so reading, writing, and math. I want you to have a separate notebook now, or in the notebook which you have been maintaining. Keep on writing stuff. Go slow on each of the section. Don't be too fast, because now you will be writing notes. Most of the stuff would be already done, so you will naturally be fast because you know where you have gone wrong. So this is the task, and this is how we are going to work on various sections that we have been doing. Okay. And yeah, in case you have got any questions, anything where you get stuck, I'll be taking these sessions in the morning where we'll be doing one-to-one discussions on any questions where you have gone wrong, right? Yeah, for next 4 5 days, if you have got any schools or anything, what about 4 o'clock in the evening? Can you plan around 4? So all of you, please make sure that you are available around 4 o'clock in the evening. Plus, at 8 o'clock, I will be doing the test. In any case, we'll be there at 8. So, अगर 4 o'clock नहीं भी आते हैं, you can discuss the questions there, or we keep it at 8 o'clock itself. Yeah, all of you would be there, right? If you want to extend, we can extend it also. So yeah, that's what we will keep. 8 o'clock is fine. I think you don't have to make any changes in any tuition plans or schools. In case you get stuck something, you can ask me and we can book a session. We can do it together on a one-to-one basis. I think that would be the best strategy. So we'll be meeting at 8 o'clock, where we'll be doing our class at a regular time. And in case you have got any questions, anything, you just ask me and I will book a separate session where I can help you with the questions where you get stuck. Next 5 6 days are very crucial, and we'll be working on them in a very focused manner like this. Okay. Okay. So anything else, anything that you want to discuss right now apart from this? Your task today is to do these 3 tests, test 10, 9, and 8. Go through all the sections, all the questions in this one where you went wrong. No, do not read the whole passage. You don't have to test yourself. Okay. Keep your answers ready. Wherever you went wrong, see what was the problem, and do you really know? Do you clearly know what is the reason? Right? Zip through them very fast, like give not more than half an hour, 45 minutes to each test. I don't want you to do the whole test. I want you to go through the questions which were incorrect and why did you get wrong. Now, the point is, did you maintain a list where you have gone wrong? Do you know which questions were incorrect from these tests? Have you been writing it on a notebook or somewhere? Possibility is some of you would have, some of you won't have. So in that case, take one or two passages which are difficult ones as a test itself. Spend 15 minutes, do the test, right? Don't do the whole test. Take any one passage. Do the test at random. Like, if you think that history, by now you would know what type of passages cause the maximum problem, right? So if I ask Archit रीडिंग में सबसे ज्यादा कहाँ गड़बड़ होती है? वैसे अर्चित की रीडिंग में तो बहुत अच्छे मार्क्स आ रहे हैं, मैं देख रहा हूँ, एक दो ही गलत हो रहे हैं, क्यों भाई अर्चित? या कुछ है कंफ्यूजन?
यस सर, वो है एक जगह सर, हिस्ट्री पैसेजेस में कुछ जगह गलती हो जाती है जब डबल पैसेज में बोलता है।
हाँ, तो फिर उसी को करो। जैसे मान लो आपको नहीं पता 10 9 8 के जो अपने हिस्ट्री के पैसेजेस हैं, उन्हीं को वापस से करो। आप डोंट डू एनीथिंग न्यू। भव्य, आपकी कहाँ गलती होती है रीडिंग में?
सर मेरी ज्यादातर तो लिटरेचर पैसेज में होती है या फिर साइंस में।
हाँ, तो जैसे इनमें से एक आधा लिटरेचर और एक आधा साइंस का पैसेज लेके आप फिर से कर सकती हो। देख सकती हो कितने मार्क्स आ रहे हैं, कहाँ गलती हो रही है, और उसमें फिर आप उसे आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं जब हम डिस्कस करेंगे कि वॉज इट कोई स्ट्रैटेजी हम नहीं लगा सकते हैं या क्या हम उसमें कर सकते हैं, वो हम देख सकते हैं। आपकी काय में गलती हो रही है इसमें? पूरे इंग्लिश के पार्ट में राइटिंग रीडिंग दोनों का बताओ मुझे केशव।
सर हिस्ट्री पैसेजेस और जो वर्ड मीनिंग क्वेश्चंस होते हैं उसमें कई बार हो जाती है।
तो फिर वही वाले टेस्ट पैसेजेस करो, इसमें हिस्ट्री पैसेजेस ही करो 10 9 8 में से। हम फोकस करेंगे ज्यादातर हिस्ट्री पर, क्योंकि उसकी लैंग्वेज देख करके लगता है वो क्या बोल रहा है पता नहीं लगता, बट लेकिन अब आप जब हिस्ट्री और उस एक पर्टिकुलर टाइप के पैसेज को बहुत ध्यान से देखते हो तो आपको पता लगता है कि उसकी क्या स्ट्रेटेजी लगानी है। जैसे हिस्ट्री पैसेजेस आप देखोगे कई बार बहुत लंबे पैसेजेस होते हैं, लेकिन वो एक ही बात को बार बार अलग तरीके से रिपीट कर रहा होता है, या किसी चीज के बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स दे रहा होता है। जैसे बोलना चाहता है कि विमेन को इक्वालिटी नहीं मिल रही है, तो बार बार बोलेगा कि उसको स्कूल में इक्वालिटी नहीं मिल रही है, कोर्ट में इक्वालिटी नहीं मिल रही है, वर्क में नहीं मिल रही है, दिस एंड दैट। तो उसमें बार बार एक एक चीज को बहुत ध्यान से पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है। आप अपने दिमाग में ये जान सकते हो थोड़े माइलस्टोन सेट करने के लिए, अच्छा ये सारे एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, एक ही टोन में उसने खूब सारे एग्जाम्पल्स दे रखे हैं, तो उनको धर 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 पढ़ो और देखो कि अगली कौन सी बात बोल रहा है। तो आपको एक एक वर्ड को बहुत ध्यान से पढ़ना नहीं है, ठीक है। कहीं पे भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड्स आए जैसे बट या हाउ एवर, तो आपको वहां पे रुकना है, क्योंकि 90% क्वेश्चंस ये जो ट्रांजिशन वर्ड्स होते हैं उनके साथ में एसोसिएटेड होते हैं। जहाँ कहीं बट आएगा, जहाँ कहीं यट आएगा, जहाँ ये ना बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट है, इसमें आप थोड़ा सा ध्यान देंगे। जैसे ना रीडिंग की अगर अपन बात कर रहे हैं, रीडिंग है ना, पे अटेंशन टू दिस, दीज आर कॉल्ड एज साइन पोस्ट वर्ड्स, राइट। साइन पोस्ट वर्ड्स जो होते हैं वो रीडिंग पैसेज में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं। वर्ड्स लाइक बट, however, yet, right, they found that, साइंस के पैसेजेस में they found that, right, they discovered that, इस तरह के जो वर्ड्स होते हैं वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं ना। बेसिक स्ट्रेटजीज अगर हम बोले, फर्स्ट लाइन लास्ट लाइन, फर्स्ट पैरा लास्ट पैरा, इनसे आपका स्पीड बढ़ जाएगा, ठीक है। तो ये करना है आपको केशव, ठीक है। और डोंट गो बाय, डोंट रीड द मैसेज, डोंट रीड द पैसेज, रीड द मैसेज। लंबे लंबे पैसेजेस दिए हुए हैं तो उसमें पूरा पैसेज नहीं पढ़ने की जरूरत है, उसका मैसेज क्या है बस उतना जान लिया तो बहुत है, फटाफट आगे निकल जाओ। क्वेश्चंस पे ध्यान दो वो क्या पूछ रहा है, राइट। ये हम लिखते जाएंगे यहाँ पे, तो आपके पास सारी स्ट्रेटजीज होंगी, आंसरिंग स्ट्रेटजीज, क्वेश्चंस के आइडेंटिफिकेशन स्ट्रेटजीज जो हम पढ़ चुके हैं, तो थोड़ा सा ये और स्ट्रक्चर बन जाएगा। मेरा प्लान ये है कि अगले 6 दिनों में हम वो जो 10 टेस्ट हैं उनको बहुत अच्छे से पूरा कर लें, बार बार रिवाइज करके एक तो वो कर लें, और कम से कम 2 टेस्ट और 2 से 3 टेस्ट और अगले एक वीक में खत्म कर लें। जैसे आपने 2020 किया है, एक टेस्ट और दे दूंगा मैं, एक टेस्ट और, ऐसे 3 टेस्ट हम पूरे कर लें और पूरे स्ट्रैटेजीज कर लें। एज अ डेली प्रैक्टिस ये जो स्ट्रैटेजीज हैं उनको रिवाइज करते जाइए, ये आपके पास पूरा करेक्ट पूरा इसमें अवेलेबल है। एक डेली प्रैक्टिस के रूप में आप पूरा का पूरा इसको एक बार पढ़ लीजिए कि इस टेस्ट में ये गलती थी, इस टेस्ट में ये गलती थी, स्पेसिफिकली जो आपकी गलतियां थी उनको देखते हुए ना। तो ये आपको करना है, तो आपके पास पूरा कंटेंट, मतलब दिमाग में अगर, देखो क्या होता है कि हम अगर टेस्ट में इस कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ जाते हैं कि हाँ ठीक है, मैं ना प्रिपरेशन के दौरान बहुत सारी गलतियां करता था और मेरा बहुत स्लो होता था, लेकिन मेरे को पता है कि उसको कैसे डील करना है, तो वो हमें बहुत कॉन्फिडेंस देता है, ठीक है। और अगर हमारी गलतियां कहीं छूट जाती हैं तो लगता है कि अरे वो चीज अभी भी गड़बड़ है, तो उस स्टेट में ना जाते हुए आपको अपनी मिस्टेक्स को करेक्ट करना है अगले एक हफ्ते, ठीक है। तो ये चीज हमारा प्लान है। हम लोग टेस्ट 10 टेस्ट को बहुत अच्छे से करेंगे। ये जो टेस्ट 1 से लेकर जितने भी टेस्ट 1 3 5 7 8 9 10, और लास्ट के जो हम 2 3 टेस्ट कर रहे हैं, टेस्ट 2022 मार्च का जो हमने किया है, और एक दो जो टेस्ट हमने अभी रिसेंटली किए हैं उनको हम बहुत अच्छे से पूरा रिवाइज करके और करेंगे। तो मैथ्स और इंग्लिश का जितना पोर्शन इनमें आया है उसके बाहर से और कुछ नहीं आने वाला है। तो हम लोग 10 जगह ना देखते हुए जो चीज़ बहुत इजीली अवेलेबल है उसको फोकस करते हुए और कंप्लीट करेंगे, ठीक है। तो ये मोटा मोटा हमारा प्लान है। अब जरा मार्च पे आ जाते हैं। हमारा जो हमने टेस्ट किया था उसमें रीडिंग पार्ट में क्या गलती हुई है मैं आपको यहाँ पे बता देता हूँ, अगर कोई ने अटेंड नहीं किया है तो वो उस वीडियो को देख लेगा, और अगर जो आपके मिस्टेक्स हैं वो मैं आपको अभी भी बता देता हूँ, ठीक है। तो हम रीडिंग के क्वेश्चन अभी डिस्कस कर लेते हैं, और फिर हम राइटिंग और बाकी चीजें आगे करेंगे। सो सैट 2020 रीडिंग। हाँ जी, तो रीडिंग में क्या गड़बड़ी हुई है जरा बताइए, फटाफट एक बार देखें। हम्म, मैंने खोला हुआ है यहाँ पे वैसे। हाँ, फर्स्ट वाले पैसेज में कुछ था क्या? फोंसेका वाला है ये भाई, कोई राइटर टाइप का बंदा है जो किसी के साथ में ट्रेवल कर रहा है, कहीं जाकर के कोई प्रोफेसर का काम करने वाला है, और बहुत ज़्यादा लिटरेचर में इंटरेस्टेड है, स्टोरीज वगैरह खूब पढ़ता है, बहुत सारी लैंग्वेजेस आती हैं इसको। तो दिस इज a narrative passage is always going to be some personal information of some individual, right? So first passage is the narrative passage always. Here we talk about Mr. Fonseca, who is a professor traveling with. Is the narrator telling the story? Some people. I'm not sure whether it is narrator or someone who is narrating the story. इसके ऊपर भी अगर क्वेश्चन आ जाता है ना, so that is what. हाँ जी, फर्स्ट 10 क्वेश्चंस में कोई है जो गलत हुआ आपका?
Question 7.
Question? Which question?
7, sir.
7. Which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the previous question? इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस यूजुअली सीक्वेंस में होते हैं, तो आप इसके अंदर नेक्स्ट और प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन से क्लू निकाल सकते हो। देखो ये बीच में है, तो ये क्वेश्चन 5 वाला जो है, द नरेटर इंडिकेट्स दैट ही विजिटेड मिस्टर फोंसेकास केबिन ऑन शिप व्हेन द नरेटर। तो इसका ये जहां भी इसका रेफरेंस है कि वो शिप में उससे कहाँ पे मिलेगा, देखो फोर्थ वाला क्वेश्चन 15 से 20 तक पहुंच गया है। फेल्ट दैट, हाँ, तो क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 वो शिप से कहाँ मिलने गया, तो 15-20 के बाद में होना चाहिए जब वो शिप से मिलने गया। मैं पढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, शिप से कहाँ मिलेगा, ये रहा, आवाज डाल, ये रहा ना। सो देखो ये ना इस तरह से आप क्लूज निकाल सकते हो, है ना। आई वुड विजिट द रूम इफ द डे वॉज डल, ये क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 का आंसर हो गया, जब वो बोल रहा है कि वो कब उससे मिलने जाता था, यानी कि 6 और 7 इसके बाद में ही होने चाहिए, है ना। तो इसके बाद में द पैसेज नरेटर फाइंड्स अस अ सिग्निफिकेंट, देखो ऑलवेज ट्राई टू आइडेंटिफाई द कीवर्ड्स इन द क्वेश्चन। सो व्हाट इज द कीवर्ड इन दिस क्वेश्चन? अ सिग्निफिकेंट कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन इन मिस्टर फोंसेकास कैरेक्टर। ये कहाँ होना चाहिए? इट मस्ट बी आफ्टर लाइन विच एवर वी मार्क देयर। ये ना, ये वाली कौन सी लाइन थी? ये इसके बाद होना चाहिए। सो रिमार्केबल कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन, मेरे दिमाग में क्या है, रिमार्केबल कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन इन हिज कैरेक्टर। तो यहाँ पे देखें जरा, देखो ये बट लगा हुआ है, देखो मैंने आपको बोला था ना, ये जो कीवर्ड्स होते हैं इस पे ध्यान देना है, ये याद रखो। अब आप जब कभी आपको कोई कीवर्ड मिले वहां पे ध्यान से पढ़ो, ठीक है। दीज आर डिस्कोर्स मार्कर्स, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होते हैं। कितने लोगों ने मोगली मूवी देखी है? कितने लोगों ने मोगली मूवी देखी है, वो हाथी घोड़े वाली, जिसमें को मोगली घूमता रहता था, जिसमें वो जंगल बुक। हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव सीन दैट मूवी? जल्दी बताओ यार, देखिए तो हाँ बोलो, नहीं देखी तो ना बोलो ना। मोगली मूवी कितने लोगों ने देखी है? भव्या, मोगली देखी है? सो गए क्या सारे?
Yes, sir.
उसमें जहाँ हाथी मूव होता था, जब हाथी जंगल से जाता था, इतना बड़ा हाथी, तो सारे के सारे जानवर ऐसे सर झुका लेते थे, याद है? तो अगर किसी जगह से हाथी मूव करता था, सो ऑल द पीपल यूज टू बाउ डाउन। व्हाई? ये मैं पहले भी पूछ चुका हूँ आपसे। Wherever elephant goes, rivers also go, because उनके पाँव इतने भारी होते हैं कि rivers follow the elephant's footprints, right? That is why all the animals used to bow down to elephants, because they were not paying respect. I mean, of course, they were paying respect to elephant because they used to bring rivers with them. इसी तरह से ये जो words होते हैं ना, ये पूरे पैसेज के फ्लो को डिसाइड करते हैं। जैसे बट, अगर कहीं बट मिल जाए तो आप उसको बाउ डाउन करना चाहिए। यहाँ पर कोई ना कोई बहुत बड़ा चेंज आ रहा होगा, कोई पैराग्राफ चेंज हो रहा है, देन दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट। आपको यहाँ पे रुकना चाहिए, थोड़ा ऐसे घास की तरह नहीं काटना है इसको, ध्यान से पढ़ना है। जब भी कोई चेंज हो रहा है तो आप अपने आप से, whenever you find any kind of transition, whether it is in para transition or para change transition, you should stop। अब देखो, अगर दिशा आपको ये पता है कि ये जो है बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड है बट, तो आप यहाँ पे अपने आप रुकोगी और आप कोशिश करोगे यहीं पे आंसर फाइंड करो, है ना। He had lived in Colombo all his life and his manner and accent were a product of Ireland, but, तो बट आ गया तो क्या करना है भाई दिशा, क्या करना है बट आ जाए तो दिशा। तो मुझे ना बहुत
यस
जल्दी
सर।
जल्दी आंसर अच्छे चाहिए लगते हैं, ऐसे नहीं कि रुके रहो आप, फ्लो टूट जाता है। अगर बट आ जाए तो क्या करना है, ऐसे सर झुकाना है, ठीक है। यू हैव टू स्टॉप एंड सी व्हाट इज द चेंज, बिकॉज यहाँ पे ना ये पूरा फ्लो चेंज हो रहा है इसका पैसेज का। बट एट द सेम टाइम ही हैड दिस वाइड रेंजिंग नॉलेज ऑफ बुक्स। ही हैड, he would sing a song from Azora or recite lines from and this। क्या बोल रहा है, जिंदगी में रहा कहाँ पे, कोलंबो में, और मैनर एक्सेंट इसका कोलंबियन है। बट एट द सेम टाइम ही हैड दिस वाइड रेंजिंग नॉलेज ऑफ बुक्स, दुनिया भर की बुक्स की नॉलेज है, रह सिर्फ कोलंबो में रहा है। तो ये इसका कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन नहीं होगा कैरेक्टर में।
यस सर, गॉट इट।
तो whenever you find these words, pay attention to it, you'll be able to, you don't have to search the answer, right? आपको फटाक से खुद ही मिल जाएगा। एक्सपीरियंस वेरी लिटिल, तो कम वो घुमा फिरा है और उसको नॉलेज बहुत ज्यादा है। सो दैट वाज द क्वेश्चन। ओके, सो इसमें आपको क्या सीखने को मिला, ये ना ये सारे नोट्स बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट हैं। विच क्वेश्चन वाज दिस, फर्स्ट पैसेज वाज दिस, नाउ दिस इज क्वेश्चन, क्वेश्चन 7 था ना। सो पे अटेंशन
यस
टू
सर।
कीवर्ड्स, पे अटेंशन टू डिस्कोर्स मार्कर्स बोलते हैं इसको, क्या बोलते हैं, डिस्कोर्स मार्कर्स। डिस्कोर्स मार्कर्स कौन से वर्ड्स होते हैं, जो कि ट्रांजिशन बताते हैं, इनको ट्रांजिशन वर्ड्स भी बोलते हैं। वर्ड्स लाइक बट, however, yet, they found that। तो you will find that वो but लगा के बोल रहा है that he studied, he stayed in Colombo, but he had knowledge of so many books, right? So this is the contradiction in this character। देखो, अगर आपने कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन देखा और कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन को बट से कनेक्ट कर दिया तो आपको ये तुरंत आंसर मिल जाएगा, राइट, इजंट इट।
यस सर।
और एक और चीज जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट आपने अभी सीखी वो ये है, यूज सीक्वेंस क्यूज। ठीक है, जब भी आप कोई क्वेश्चन करो तो यूज सीक्वेंस क्यूज। फर्स्ट फाइंड आउट वेयर इज द आंसर, देन फाइंड आउट व्हाट इज द आंसर। Okay, so if you do it like this, you will get your answers very quickly, you won't waste time, and you would be able to gather all the information and find the right answer। Okay, पहले फाइंड आउट करो कहाँ पे है आंसर, फर्स्ट फाइंड आउट वेयर इज द आंसर, राइट। फर्स्ट ऑलवेज ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट वेयर इज द आंसर एंड देन फाइंड आउट व्हाट इज द आंसर। और वेयर फाइंड आउट करने के लिए कैसे पता लगाओगे दिशा, you will use the sequence cues। sequence cues क्या होता है, sequence clues बोल देता हूं मैं इसको, sequence clues। what is the meaning of sequence clues, look at the previous and the next questions। okay, अगर आपको ये strategies याद हो गई तो आपको भी कोई क्वेश्चन गलत करोगे ही नहीं। देखो अब है ना, अगर आपने कीवर्ड वहां पे देख लिया होता कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन, तो कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन से बट कनेक्ट हो रहा है। अगर आप ये जानते हैं कि बट जो है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड होता है, तो अब आपकी आंख जो है ना अपने आप टकराएगी बट से। जैसे ही आपको वर्ड बट वर्ड मिलेगा या हाउएवर वर्ड मिलेगा, आप वो समझ में आएगा कि ये लाइन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और यहाँ पे कोई आंसर छुपा होगा। ये बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट क्लूज है ना। अगर हमें नहीं पता तो हम उसको वैसे ही घास की तरह काट देंगे, हमें लगेगा कि इंपॉर्टेंट ही नहीं है। बट नाउ you will now can you see that I'm using this but now, right? But now you will pay attention to these words while reading the passage, right? These are called as transition words or discourse markers. So if you pay attention to transition words and discourse markers, automatically your speed will improve, isn't it? हम लोग सब कुछ एक से ही पढ़ते हैं तो हमें लगता है कि अरे बहुत बड़ा पैसेज है, हमें याद ही नहीं है कुछ पढ़ने के बाद। बट अब आपको समझ में आया कि कैसे करना है। सो इतना सारा कुछ बोला इसने, देखो आप जब आप खुद बात करते हो ना तो कई बार ये सारे वर्ड्स यूज कर रहे होते हैं। सो इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वर्ड, इजंट इट? ये सारे वर्ड्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हैं। जैसे मैंने अभी बोला था, इजंट इट, व्हाट इज दिस इजंट इट? इट्स अगेन अ डिस्कोर्स मार्कर। मैं क्या कर रहा हूं, मैं हाईलाइट करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं, मैं आपको जगा रहा हूं इजंट इट बोल के। इजंट इट इज अ क्वेश्चन, राइट? So that's how you have to be a little conscious towards these discourse markers. You'll get all the questions. हर एक क्वेश्चन का ना कोई ऐसे क्लू है जो आप अगर सो द पर्पस इज नहीं कि हमें ये वाला क्वेश्चन करेक्ट होना चाहिए। पॉइंट इज लाइक व्हाट इज द बेस्ट स्ट्रेटेजी। सो वो अगर आपने सीख लिया, आपके कोई भी क्वेश्चन गलत नहीं होंगे। ओके, नेक्स्ट। इसके बाद कौन सा क्वेश्चन था आफ्टर क्वेश्चन 7?
20.
Question 20. So what was this passage now? This passage was about ऑनलाइन रिव्यूज एंड हाउ ऑनलाइन रिव्यूज अफेक्ट। देखो हमेशा जो सेकंड पैसेज होता है वो कैसा होता है? द सेकंड पैसेज इज अ नरेटिव, इज अ सोशल पैसेज, राइट? This is something which is fixed. Always your second passage is going to be a social passage. Social passage में क्या होने वाला है? There would be some discussion about some social issue, right? Like for example, in this case, what is the issue they are talking about? Online reviews. And what is the gist of it? That a moderate review is more persuasive. Persuasive means people give more attention to moderate. So whenever you read a passage, this is how you can summarize it in your own mind, what exactly the passage is talking about. And then you can answer questions. Now, if you go to question 20, let us find out the keywords in question 20. Let us see the nature of it and then we will answer it. Usually, the last few questions are based on some graph, if there is a graph, right? Which statement do the data in figure 2 best support? Now, see how to answer this question. Do the data in figure 2 best support? The only way to answer this question is to use process of elimination, right? We don't know. But then before reading all these options, what should you do? You should actually go to figure 2, understand the context, read the passage a little bit to understand what was going on there, and then answer this question. So if I go to figure 2, I see this one. 10 star rating, 8 star rating. ये ऊपर का पार्ट पढ़ना बहुत जरूरी है. Participants' perception of accuracy and thoughtfulness. So it's talking about their perception of accuracy and thoughtfulness of reviews of a cleaning service under data. Whatever is the service, that is not important. Various rating and default rating conditions. So fine. So what is this? 10 star default rating and 8 star default rating. तो मतलब ज्यादातर जो है वो 10 स्टार बना हुआ है. अगर 10 स्टार है और 10 स्टार है तो ये लोग इतना उसका परसेप्शन है. परसेप्शन ऑफ द रिव्यूज एक्यूरेसी इज दिस. अगर सब लोगों ने 10 लगा रखा है और एक 8 है तो 8 को ज्यादा ये वो कर रहा है. क्या कर रहा है? उनको लग रहा है 8 ज्यादा सही होगा क्योंकि दुनिया ने सभी ने 10 10 10 लगा रखे हैं. इसने 8 क्यों? आप भी तो सोचो ऐसे ही होगा ना. इफ यू आर लुकिंग एट Amazon और एनी अदर साइट, if you see lots and lots of 10 ratings, but there is one which is like 8 rating, would you not read that 8? That what exactly is this guy saying differently, isn't it? So that's what this guy is saying. Main perception of the reviewer's thoughtfulness, 1 is not at all, 7 is very much. So As you all can see, the higher thoughtfulness is when the rating is a little different from the default, right? So 10-star review, 8-star review. So when there is 10-star review, the default rating is this. Why are these two? 10-star default rating. Acha. So by default, the 10-star rating is there. And if so, 10-star, you got it right. If the default rating is 10-star and you see a lot of 10-star, 10-star itself, it doesn't sound very persuasive. But if it is, so you got it. If it is 8, people pay more attention to it. 8-star default rating and 10-star. So again, if most of them have given 8-star, but there is a 10-star one. So so look at this. This one is bigger in this at this time, right? So something which stands out has a larger number. Let me delete this so that this makes sense now. You can see the larger one is the one which is against the default. Does that make sense, Disha?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand this table very clearly? Now let us see what is happening here and what is the most matching option for question 20. Let me first go to the correct one itself. Participants trusted deviatory reviews more than non-deviatory reviews regardless of default rating. इससे बढ़िया summary तो और कुछ हो ही नहीं सकती. यही तो बोला है इसने. I think, did you understand the table very clearly? The way we have discussed it right now. So see, this is the अब दिशा हाँ ना कुछ तो बोलो. Table समझ में आ गई थी पहले.
Yes, yes.
Did you understand the table very clearly earlier?
Yes, sir.
So why did you not find D then?
So I wrote A option.
Participants found rating systems with 8-star defaults to be highly accurate. Not really. At times they found 10-star also to be accurate, right? In the second one, they found 10-star also accurate. No. So it is the deviatory one which is considered to be more accurate, right? So what is the sequence to answer these types of questions? How to answer data questions? So question 20 is a data question, right? Do not read the options first. Yeah, this is actually default. Do not read the options first. Read the data first and have a clear understanding. Spend 1 or 2 minutes reading those two trends, and don't read individual numbers. Try to identify a trend. Do not read individual numbers. Try to figure out the trend, right? So when you read the data, do not read individual numbers. Try to figure out a trend, right? Like देखो सभी जगह पे ये कम है, सभी जगह पे ये ज्यादा है. This is what? This is trend. Left hand side पे छोटा है, right hand side पे बड़ा है. So when you look at the data like this, you will be able to find out a trend. What do you mean by a trend? What do you mean by a trend? How do you define a trend? Keshav, can you tell me what is a trend? Archit, what is a trend? What do you mean by trend? Trend is something which repeats, right? Trend is something which repeats itself, isn't it? That's why it is trend, no? Trend means something which repeats itself. आजकल क्या चल रहा है? एड देखा है कि नहीं ये वाला? आजकल क्या चल रहा है? अर्चित, आजकल क्या चल रहा है? फॉग चल रहा है.
रेफरेंस टू फॉग एड.
हाँ, फॉग चल रहा है. फॉग क्यों चल रहा है? ऐसा क्या बोलना चाहता है वो?
It's
सारे
like
ही
it's
फॉग.
just promoting its brand.
Exactly. He is trying to say that everybody is using fog. Means it is getting repeated. So this particular advertisement is telling that भाई साहब ये तो बहुत ज्यादा ट्रेंड में है, तो तुम भी लगाओ, तो इसको रिपीट करो, तुम भी एक रिपीटर बन जाओ. That's the hidden message, right? So क्या चल रहा है is basically we are talking about what is the trend, right? Okay. So whenever you read a graph, do not read individual numbers. Try to identify the क्या चल रहा है. So यहाँ पे क्या चल रहा है? What we are finding is that an outlier actually catches more attention than a repeater. An outlier catches more attention than a repeater, isn't it? एक जंगल में बहुत सारे चूहे हैं और एक हाथी है, तो आपका ध्यान किस पे जाएगा?
Elephant.
Yeah, so that's what it is. That's what this particular graph is trying to say. So when you read it like this, when you're not bothered about individual numbers, when you identify the trend, it will be easy for you to find out the right answer. Okay, next.
So question number 32.
17.
So 17. Let's go to 17. So try to identify the nature of the question before you answer it. Like for example, in question number 17. Okay, so whenever you answer a question, first of all, dissect the question and see what are the keywords. Based on the passage, which means there is some evidence there in the passage, what would the effect on the data reflected in figure 1? Which means I have to understand figure 1 first. So this is my keyword. What would the effect on the data reflected in figure 1 be? So what would be the effect on data 1 if participants in the first study discussed in the passage had been given long reviews? So what is the impact of long reviews? In other words, what is the impact of long reviews? To read, but no other changes were made to the study. So what is the impact of long reviews? मतलब सिर्फ long reviews अगर दे दिए जाएं तो क्या होगा? So this becomes my keyword, right? And first study. तो मुझे आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ेगा ये कौन सा क्वेश्चन है और इसके लिए मैं कौन सी लाइनें पढ़ूं. तो मैं पिछले क्वेश्चन को देखता हूँ, लाइन 52 तक पहुंच गया ये. अगले क्वेश्चन को देखता हूँ, लाइन, ये तो क्या इसका विच चॉइस प्रोवाइड्स बेस्ट. अच्छा, तो इसमें एविडेंस भी है, तो अगर ये 52 तक पहुंच गया तो मेरे को लगेगा कि 52 या उसके आसपास ही है. देख रहे हो, अब देखो ये ना 90% केसेस में ऐसे ही होता है. 52 तक पहुंच गया है तो ये सारे ऑप्शंस का होने का चांस सबसे कम है, लेटर वाले ऑप्शन का चांस सबसे ज्यादा है. ठीक है, लेकिन ये थंब रूल है, ये कोई कोई ऐसा प्रिंसिपल नहीं है. जनरली ये लोग फॉलो करते हैं एक सीक्वेंस का रूल. तो अगर आप देख रहे हो पिछले क्वेश्चन में 52 तक, they've already reached to 52, they will focus on those lines or lines after that. So yeah, this is how you can figure out. So if I read 50 to 53 first and see what is the, are they talking about long reviews in 50 to 53? So if I go to 50 and to 53 and I talk, see, but when we gave them long reviews with either 4 or 5-star ratings, the review's deviatory status no longer impacted consumers' desire to purchase the pen. Deviatory status no longer impacted. जरा देखना पड़ेगा मुझे क्या. So long reviews जो है वो, I don't know what is the context. Now since I'm not very clear about क्या बोल रहा है ये, I'll have to read the paragraph. So I'll expand my window and I'll read it from first line itself. Follow-up study, we found that extreme reviews regain their persuasiveness if they are long. अच्छा, तो ये समझ में आया, long reviews ज़्यादा persuasive होते हैं, ये general rule है. We presented consumers with real consumer reviews for pens and varied the reviewer's star rating so that some deviated from a 5-star rating. So that's what is happening here, that we are going to do this class for another 10 minutes and varied the reviewer's star rating so that some deviated from 5-star default. In the first part of this study, consumers viewed brief reviews and then included either a 4-star or 5-star rating in the context of a 5-star default, just as in earlier studies. क्या करके आ रहे हैं ये लोग? So in the first review, 4-star, 5-star कुछ इसमें change किया है. Those consumers were more likely to purchase the pen when they viewed a 4-star review. So generally, when the rating is different, it is more persuasive. But then can you all see this but here? Can you see that the question is framed based on this but? 90% of the time you'll find this. There is some strong discourse marker in the lines where there is a question. When we gave them longer reviews with either 4 or 5-star rating, the review's deviatory status no longer impacted. What does it mean? इन लाइनों का क्या मतलब है? दिशा समझो. कोई किसने पूछा था? अर्चित or whoever asked this question. What is the meaning of Sia, what is the meaning of these lines? Can you explain it to me? So basically,
It means that when they gave them long reviews, it did not really impact if they wanted to like buy the pen or not.
exactly.
There was no deviation.
एग्जैक्टली मतलब जनरली 4-स्टार और 5-स्टार नंबर्स काफी इम्पैक्ट करते हैं, लेकिन अगर सभी को लॉन्ग रिव्यूज दे रखे हैं तो इन नंबर्स का कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. ऐसा नहीं है कि 4 है या 5 है ये ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है कि किसी रिव्यू के साथ में कितना लंबा, किसी भी रेटिंग के साथ में कितना लंबा रिव्यू दे रखा है. Which means the length of the review is the determining factor, not the rating itself. Higher the longer the length of the review, better the rating. I mean, better the persuasiveness. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if long reviews were given, that's what they're saying. Look at this but. Where is that but? Here it is. When we gave them longer reviews with either 4 or 5, the reviewer's deviatory status no longer impacted consumers' desire to purchase the pen. So deviatory status means, समझ गए ना आपके, what is the default and what is the deviation? That doesn't matter, which means long reviews are persuasive. That's the point he's trying to make here. So this is interesting. Now if I go to question, which question was that?
17.
So see, I have identified the lines. I've understood what the story is. Now it would be easy for me to figure out. The 10-star reviews group's percentage would increase to a level similar to percentage of 8-star review. Why? If the long reviews are given, then 10 or 8 won't matter. What matters is long reviews. That's what is happening in those lines, right? So see, what happens is, if you are ready with the answer, if you already know what is the right answer, figuring out the correct statement would be that much faster and easier. Right? This was a good question actually, because it required a little bit of analysis before you really can answer the question. Okay, next question.
So question 32.
Okay, so probably this is the next passage. In any case, if you want to leave, I'm going to record this so you can watch this later. And yeah, if there are any other questions apart from what the group discusses, you can discuss that separately. So question 32. So what was this passage about? If we talk about the nature of the passage, talks about some kind of plant. Yeah, reproductive suppression was the story. Like why exactly is, and there are certain theories, some hypothesis is proposed regarding reproductive suppression. That is it the location which becomes um, a limiting factor, or is it the quantity of food, or some other environmental factors, whatever they talk about. So it was about in a group of some kind of animals, some coral fishes and all, larger the size of male and female, greater are the chances of their mating, and rest of the females or rest of the males become um reproductive suppressed creatures. That's the story. And उसके ऊपर उन्होंने पूरा hypothesis और वो बनाया है कि क्या कारण था, क्यों था. Yeah, this one is already shared. This handout of strategies which I have made is in a shared file, so you would have access to it, right? All of you have got access to the shared file, right? Is there anyone who doesn't have access to this file? Do you all have access to it? Have I shared this with all of you or not? Bhavya Batra, do you have it or not?
No, sir.
So you have it now. Okay, so you can refer and you can read this as many times and use this for your revisions and all. Okay, so fine. This was the passage. Now, if I look at, so always whenever you read a science passage, read the first and last para first. देखो in summary करके खुद ही बता रहा है. So this can actually help and save a lot of time. Can you see this
So
for a
you
science?
read the wrong passage actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. So कौन सा वाला था?
I said 32. It's the next
तो 32 इसी में तो नहीं होगा 42. ओ ओ ओ ओके ओके
20. It's
अच्छा 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 ओके सॉरी सॉरी
21 to 31.
okay this one the world knows and this one okay so this is about the history one. I'm sorry I read the wrong passage but anyways since I've read it, is there any question from this passage science one? Is there any question from 21 to 31 that we want to discuss? I'm glad all of you got this science passage right, huh? So this is good. Congratulations to all of you. All of you have become half scientists. I mean, you understand the structure of science passage. Okay, so this one is history and it talks about free speech and the importance of free speech. कोई तो भी gathering हो रही थी वहां पर के कोई भी आए और आकर के चिल्लाने लग गए और वो लोग free speech को promote नहीं होने दे रहे थे. So there was something going on about um, slavery and that discussion was going on. Some speeches were going on against slavery, but some people, learned people, came there and they started shouting and they didn't allow others to express their views. And this whole thing is about free speech. That in a civilized society, free speech is something which is so very important. A plea for freedom of speech in Boston. Douglas was a prominent African American abolitionist. Who is an abolitionist, by the way? Who is against slavery? The ones who tries to. Slavery was legalized, and they wanted to abolish it. So abolitionist is one who says that slavery should not be legalized; it should be declared illegal. Abolish slavery. Okay. So yeah, now if I talk about question 37 in this, that was the context. Question 37: which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the? Is that the one? You're talking about question 37, Archit?
No, sir, 32.
Oh, 32. Okay. So 32. A central claim of the passage that free speech is a. Now, this is a central claim question and you should do it at the end. Don't do it at the beginning unless you have understood the whole passage very clearly, right? Do the easy line based and word based question. ये सारे question पहले कर लो, इस पे आखिरी में आओ. देखो ये सब के सब questions बहुत ही direct हैं. So if you get warmed up with the passage by doing these easy questions first, you'll be able to find out a central claim. So which means one of the central claims here. Free speech is a right that exists independently of the circumstances of one's birth. So whether you are one's birth means it doesn't depend on which clan you are from. Your clan is not important. Whether you are an Asian, a black, an African, whatever it is, or a white guy. So independent of birth means ये तो आपका जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार है. The only, I mean, even if you are, the only qualification is that you are alive. It doesn't matter what kind of skin color you have. So yeah, circumstances of one's birth, which means it is not a special privilege. Free speech is not a special privilege, isn't it? So free speech is not a special privilege. That's what this particular passage is trying to say, right? Next question.
33.
Line 10, exceptional affair most nearly means. So whenever you get this word-based question, Keshav, do not just read that line. Try to expand your window and read a little bit above and below the word to understand what is the context. Okay. So if I go to line 10 and see what is this exceptional affair, I'll mark this word first and I'll read this in the whole context because this is a word in a context question. Okay. So let me see. The world knows that last Monday a meeting was held and some topic was there, how shall slavery be abolished. World also knows that the meeting was invaded, insulted, and dispersed by order of mayor who refused to protect it. तो जैसे हमारा जलियांवाला कांड नहीं हुआ था, आकर के वो लोग गोली चलाने लग गए, है ना? ऐसे यहाँ पे कुछ मीटिंग शीटिंग चल रही थी और ये लोगों ने आकर के उसको ठीक से चलने नहीं दिया. Though called upon to do so, in this had if this had been a mere outbreak of passion and prejudice among the baser sort, means अगर ऐसी कोई दंगा फैलाने आया होता तो कोई बात नहीं थी कि ये exception हो. Bounded, hounded on by some wily politician to serve some immediate purpose, a mere exceptional affair, it might be allowed to rest with what has already been said. Means it was, had it been like all of a sudden somebody came and did it, it had been fine. Means it is still acceptable if like कोई आकर के ऐसे ही कुछ तो परेशान करने के लिए करके चला गया होता. Which means ये सोचा समझा अफेयर था. They were men who pride themselves upon their respect for law. So he's trying to say that it was not this, but this. It was not one of the cases that there was some ruckus in the meeting, but it was like a very, these guys were well qualified and these were law abiding people. So exceptional affair means something which happens like once in a while, something other. So that's what isolated incident tells, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Next question. So you know what? When you read the passage so carefully, you don't even have to look at all other options. The one which is right stands out. You know what exactly is he trying to say. So that is why don't read the options actually. Read the passage first with more focus and then do the question. Just give me 1 minute, please. Sorry, I think I was speaking with mic on mute. So it is not about a question or two which you get right or wrong. It is the strategy which is most important, right? So I want you all to go through all these strategies once again. Okay. Even if you've got a question correct, make sure that you revisit at least this particular test. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's not about whether I got this right or not. The point is, did I learn the right strategy to get the answer correctly or not? Because this passage is not going to come, but similar passages will come, right? So I want you to focus on the strategies rather than the questions themselves. So I'm stopping the class here. I'll tell you about the next time. In case you have got any personal doubts or questions, I'm planning to do another session somewhere around 1 o'clock tomorrow. So I will not be discussing this particular test paper. I want to do it on Monday. But yes, if you have got anything which related to strategy or something that you want to discuss, we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. And yeah, so we'll do the rest of the questions of this one day after, which is on Monday, and we'll take it forward from there. Okay. Focus on strategies. It's important that you know some basics about reading comprehension. What are the key things that we learned today? Number one, whenever you read a question, identify the keywords. Number two, do not read the options first. Go to the passage, do your research, find out what is the right answer, and then come back. Number three, pay attention to keywords, pay attention to those discourse markers, but Yet they found that further they saw that anything which changes the course of the direction of the passage, but or however, right? Or some words in summary, they are the keywords there, right? Number 4, look for situational, the positional clues. Find out where is the answer, then what is the answer. Okay, look for previous and next question for these things. So when you do it, you will automatically gain speed. Don't read the options, don't pay attention to all the options. First try to understand. See, either you can check each option and say tu to sahi galat nahi hai, like that. You can either look at the options or pay more attention to the right answer. So first of all, find out the right answer, then choose the right option. It will become so easy. All right, I want you to revisit all the questions where you have gone wrong after 33. See whether you can find the right answer, and you can see why the right answer is the right answer using this strategy. Okay, do this as an exercise. There are still like 1 or 2 passages left, right? You might be having 2-3 incorrect questions in those passages. I want you to go through them once again and apply the strategies that you have learned today, and see whether you can find out the right answer by applying these strategies. Am I making sense to you? Are you able to understand what I'm saying? After question number 33, whichever questions are wrong, I want you to revisit them and apply the strategies which we learned today and see whether you can get them or not. Okay? And we'll discuss them in the next class after this. So you would be able to see whether it is, whether these things are working for you or not. Yeah, what I want to hear from you is, sir, ये question galat ho gaya tha, but then when I revisited it, I found that, oh, I could have really got it right. It was some mistake of mine. So if you are able to identify your own mistakes, it will be so good. It will help you to know that, oh, I know this, how to apply the strategies. So I'm not telling you the rest of the questions, whatever 10, 12 questions there are. I want you to revisit them and see whether you can find them or not. In case you couldn't, we are going to discuss them. Yeah, I'm going to, in any case, I'm going to kind of share the recording of this class. All right. Okay. Bye-bye. All the best to you. Good day. So yeah, your homework is, I've already noted there, 8, 9, and 10. Go through those tests, see which questions are incorrect, and do the questions which seem to be difficult to you, right? Identify, oh, this one is something which I don't know. Linear equation, ये जो छोटे मोटे questions होते हैं वो सब खत्म कर दीजिए. Go to the difficult ones in maths, go to the difficult passage in English, and yeah, face your fears and try to overcome them. That's most important. All right, and we'll discuss them tomorrow then. Okay, good day. Bye bye.